Oh, hello. It's Thursday, so it's time for this week's instalment of Recollections of Battle, the weekly series where I try and dimly remember the events of a game that I've played the day before. This week it's Shatterpoint again, so I'm still on my mad keen Shatterpoint kick in terms of the weekly gaming that I'm doing. And it's actually a rematch of a previous Recollections of Battle. So I'm playing my current Separatist list, which is General Grievous, supported by Kalani and the B1s, along with Count Dooku, supported by Kraken and the Magna Guards. And Zimbad was playing his Mandalorian team, which isn't the one with the armorer, the classic one that's going around. He prefers to play. It's the Mandalorian with the Clan Kreese, Mandos, and Bo-Katan. And in Squad 2, he uses Darth Maul with Gar Saxon and the Mandalorian Super Commandos. So them's the stakes. Let's get into me trying to remember what's going on. Okay, here we go. So, once again, the match is the same, and once again, we're playing shifting priorities. I am steadily convinced that I need to be able to win on shifting priorities because I think that I've discussed this before. I think that doing Sabotage Showdown gives a bigger advantage to my opponent generally when I'm playing separatists, and I think Zimbad only understands that like he only ever plays shifting priorities. I think his rationale is that that's the cards that he owns. Um, and if I was like, no, let's play this other one, I'm sure he would. But yeah, that's where we are so far. So I got the first turn, and I drew Kraken, and then I was really umming and ahhing because, as you can see from the way I've deployed, Kalani is there in the center, okay, on the inside edge of General Grievous's deployment there, so that he's in range 4 of all the droids. And Kraken, of course, activates. Now, it would have been a perfectly good activation, or I should say, because we can't quite see it, the final live point for this one is this one here. It's just struggling to pick it up because of the camera angle. So I could have got Kraken and sent him off towards that point, but I was like, well, I'd rather have Kalani or Grievous or Dooku or the Shatterpoint card, right? So there were 4 cards in my deck that I would have rather had than Kraken. So I reserved Kraken. Reserving Kraken is free, right? So I reserved him, and then I drew the B1s, and then it was like, well, now I have to do stuff with the B1s, which is kind of sad. So the B1s, it was a classic activation of a move and a hunker using the ingress point down there. So one base of B1s got up here, and then the other base of B1s is milling around sort of here. Not the most exciting of turns, but that's kind of what happened. And then Zimbad got Gar Saxon. So Gar Saxon activates, sort of moves to here initially, and then one of the squads of super commandos, looks like it was this near squad of super commandos, also gets to activate, and then Gar finds his way up here. Uh, may have had a punch at the B1s and eroded them a little bit, okay, but didn't actually manage to get the B1s off, push them off, do anything to them. So that was still my point. So I then score 3 because I've got my 2 back objectives plus the one. Well, I don't score because it's Zimbab's turn, but he is only scoring 2. Um, Although looking at it right now, given that he's moved Gar Saxon and that Mandalorian, I don't know if we actually checked that he was still holding that middle point. I know he will have been with the Clan Kreese on the other side. Yeah, yeah. Cool. So then we moved on to my next turn, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, fine. I've got that point, and um, Gar's gone, so he's not a threat to me. So I thought, well, Zimbab's going to have to manifest something else if he wants to, he's going to have to bring up another threat. I've got the B1s on there. The B1s are there with their protection that they have from being on there. What I'll do is I will take the reserved Kraken and do perhaps what I should have done at the start. Right, so Kraken activates. He gets the Magna Guards to do a little dash, so we end up with a Magna Guard. These are below, they're on the ground level, apologies. So the Magna Guards sort of moved up slightly here, and then Kraken did a move and a hunker, and just about ends up on here as well. Which is cool, because he's then going to gain protection and steadfast, which is cool. Looking at the pictures, by the way, on Zimbad's turn, I think his initial draw was the Clan Krees, maybe, and he reserved them, and then he drew Gar Saxon. Not that it's that particularly relevant. And then it was Zimbad's turn, so I'm scoring 4, which I think is pretty cool. What did I do next? No, I remember. Hang on, I've got something slightly wrong. So, Kraken used his ability, his tactic, the one that has infinite range, right? And I actually moved the B1s. So the B1s just to... This got more up on the point, and then this B1 got up here, so they were both on there. And then, before I moved Kraken, he did a tactical network, I remember, for a force to move and hunker the Magnas, and then he moved and captured the points. That's what's happened. I just photographed it in a weird order, because that's the kind of person that I am. And then, I'm sure Zimbab must have done something. So he had an activation with Bo-Katan, right? And then, so... What is this photograph? I'm not very good at this whole documenting the battle thing, right, that I'm supposed to be doing. So he had an activation with Bo-Katan, and so when Bo-Katan activates, a Mandalorian gets to activate. So the Mandalorian that moved, that did a little dash, was in fact the Mandalorian, I think. Yeah. So the Mandalorian does a little dash to sort of here. Oops. Here. What? No, don't resize the puck. Come on. And then Bo-Katan, I'm pretty sure, comes up to here. Do. And then I think she shot and pushed Kraken. Right. So Kraken goes down into these boxes. That must have been what happened. Yeah. And then Zimbad is happily scoring 3, which is fine. Brings him back into parity. Yeah. And then the turn where I possibly, I don't know, didn't do optimal stuff. I got Kalani at this point, right? So Kalani went to stand up here. So no, he activates the tactical networks, and the Magnas continue to move forwards, right? And then Kalani goes to stand up here, and then Kalani's thoughts is that he's gonna tactical network then to the B1s just to try and wound or knock off or do something to Gar Saxon, but of course they don't, because they're B1s, and B1s aren't... I don't know why I believed the B1s would achieve anything, but seemingly that's what I thought I would do. I think Kalani also shot Gar Saxon, right, to try and get the trigger for free, and the B1s then had a go at him, But Gar Saxon's just fine. He's just sitting there going, yeah, we're fine. Okay. And so Zimbad then decides to go with his reserved Clan Kreese Mandalorians, I think. And the Clan Kreese Mandalorians, one kind of goes here, and one kind of goes to here. And the reason I think that I messed up was that I could have just marched Kalani onto this point. Kalani was not quite on the point, so Zimbad was able to flip it with the single base of Clan Kreese. It would have been able to take it off me anyway by moving this one more like over here, but putting it there, it just means that he was able to take the middle points, and then he was also able to really secure this this left point here, which I think he already had, because Bo-Katan had pushed back Kraken. So now Zim is scoring 3. It is only 3. It was 2 before. It's 3 now. He's got the centre, he's got his home objective, and he's got the left objective. I've got my home objective and the right objective now. Cool. So then I had an activation with Dooku. So Dooku comes up, gets to about here, right? And I'm able to get a bring up one of the Magna Guards onto the point here, right? And Dooku's got the point. Dooku then shoots Force Lightning at the Clan Kreese Mando. Doesn't really accomplish very much. He wanted to get into combat, but he couldn't. But Dooku's just in range at that point now. So between Dooku and the Magna Guard, of course, advancing with its trigger that I actually remembered for once in my life, manages to claim that objective, right? So then in Zimbad's turn, the Mandalorian comes in to the centre, right? And through a combination of things, he then I've closed my phone, but he pushes Count Dooku away, or I imagine more accurately Grogu, right, pushes Count Dooku away. Let me just try and get back to where I am supposed to be. Yeah. So Dooku ends up back here. And I think I'm right in saying that this Magna basically gets pushed back into base to base with this Magna. So that's then Zimbad's middle point, right? So he's now holding the middle, he's holding the left, he's holding the back. So he's now back on scoring 3. And then I believe what happened next is I managed to get a turn with General Grievous. So Grievous uses his combination of move and then being able to spend a force to move, and he gets right in here in this gap, right? Now I didn't use his initial trigger. I don't think there was any droids within 3, but once he's moved, of course, the Magnas, one of the bases of Magnas can move. So I moved the far Magna, came up to sort of here, right? Now, Grievous then attacks the Clan Kreese Mandalorian, trying to get them out, trying to get the wound, hopefully to take out both of them and therefore remove some of the pressure on this left objective. But he whiffs in his Grievous way, like nothing much happens. Uses his trigger to move this Magna up a little bit. This Magna tries to hit the Clan Kreese Mandalorian as well, and the Clan Kreese Mandalorian is having none of it. It's just sort of fine, I think, at the end of that exchange. Nevertheless, that flips the middle point back to me, because I've now got two Mandalorians and General Grievous on that middle point, and there's the Mandalorian is there with 2 Magnas. I don't have Mandalorians. I have 2 Magnas and General Grievous on the points, and Zimbad has the Mandalorian and the Clan Kreese. So then, as best as I can tell, which is not easily, I think Zimbad's next activation is... Did he Shatterpoint the Mandalorian? I feel like he Shatterpointed the Mandalorian. Yes. And so... Is that right? No, that's not right. Because I basically forgot to take any photos for a little while. He had then the Super Commandos, I'm pretty sure, and this back Super Commando ends up roughly here, and this other Super Commando, I think, ends up... I didn't take any more photographs of that left flank, but this Super Commando ends up here. Somehow. I don't know whether it was a... I think it was a move, and then... I know it's deeply unsatisfying. Somehow, these B1s ended up on the floor more than they would have liked. And we ended up with the Super Commandos getting in, and Zimbad just dominating these two. So he's now got the middle. Not the middle. I've still got the middle for the minute. Or... No, because the thing is with these photographs, I've not actually, stupidly, I've not got any way of tracking like when the wounds happened. But essentially, Zimbad takes the struggle at this point, despite it having been very kind of back and forth on various things. And we ended up with the Super Commando and Gar up there. Yeah. And in the middle, I think the Magna Guard ended up wounded. That's what I want to say happened. I'm not sure how it happened, but they definitely did end up wounded at some point. But it's a broad strokes thing. If you've watched plenty of these, you know what's going on, right? So that was the Super Commandos. And then I had a turn, and I think this was about the time that the struggle flipped. So it became my struggle, right? That I got to determine what we were doing. And I didn't take a big photograph, annoyingly, of what was happening. I'm poor. You know? Do I have any concept as I rapidly scroll through my phone of what happened now? No. I've just scrolled through the whole of Struggle 2 and there's no clues. I know that the middle stopped being a thing. At some point. Now, I missed something quite vital here because... I must have missed something quite vital. Oh, blimey. Oh, what even is this video? Oh, mother. You're just watching a man scroll through his phone endlessly, trying desperately to jog his memory, which is not for the best. Come on, Phil. So, the struggle popped, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Bear with me. I think, having spent too long staring at the struggle 2 possible combinations, it was the 3 that are now on there in green. You know, I'm absolutely kicking myself for not taking more better photographs, but the thing is, you get so caught up in actually enjoying your one game a week, right, that the rigors of content creation, you know, You don't focus on making the best possible content. But nevertheless, I'm really annoyed with myself. But hey, we do what we do. Hopefully we'll be able to salvage something out of this video. If not, hey, I'll upload it for the members. And they can watch me struggle, right? So this was me going into Struggle 2. And I had Kalani, right? Now, the B1s, by this point, that are holding that back objective, they had become wounded, right? So that wasn't much use to anybody. So I had Kalani, and I realised that Kalani could just come back off. So ultimately, Kalani moves to there, right? But before he does that, right, we get to activate some units. So he dashed the B1s back here, and these B1s dashed back here a little bit. And then he also moved the Magnas somewhere. The Magnas did spend a lot of time getting shot. Okay, I think the Magnas made a little move in this direction. Okay, at this point. Okay, and then Kalani comes down here to seize that objective, and that's my objective, and that was the double, that back one as well. So that was good. Okay, and then it's Paul's turn, Zimbad's turn. Paul Bad, Zimall, and he has do you know I took some photos of absolute nonsense. I don't for the life of me understand what I was trying to explain to myself. But there you go. It must have been Darth Maul, because Darth Maul hasn't done nothing yet. Darth Maul basically uses his force speed and other stuff and manages to get all the way. He's coming in here. He's coming for Kalani. He pulls Kalani up to him, and manages to I think wound Kalani, and then Kalani's like here wounded, and then does Maul follow up with a push to get the objective, something like that, right? And then so that was Zimbad's turn. At least that's the story that I'm going to tell. Okay. So Zimbad's then got me off that one, and he's still got this left one. Nobody's bothered yet about this back one, just at all. Okay. So then I must have had an activation with Count Dooku. So Dooku comes up here. And by this time, possibly through the machinations of the Magna Guard, the Clan Kreese Mandalorians are wounded. Okay, so Dooku comes up here. No, Dooku finishes off the Clan Kreeses now. That's what happens. Dooku comes up, finishes off the Clan Kreese because Bo-Katan's untouched. They become wounded, and somewhere one of the tactical droid activations somewhere else, Kraken had previously been nudged up into range. So the fact that he's there and Dooku is there, I then take that left objective. Okay, so I'm scoring 1. So right now we're holding 1 apiece. Okay. Yeah. But I won this struggle. So I've obviously missed something pretty vital. But there you go. What are you going to do? I know. Trash content. I'm just scrolling backwards and forwards in the meager number of photographs that I've taken in the hopes that they will show me something that I... Yeah. So Dooku comes there. Then I'm pretty sure Paul had the Mandalorian. just taken the most absurdly random photographs. Mandalorian tries to come round and do something here. And he ends up there, and I don't know what he tried to do, but it didn't work. I'm really sorry, that's trash, isn't it? And then the thing is, I then was able to wake up the B1s. The B1s basically woke up, and even though Maul is there, they literally just woke up and stood there and went, well, this is our point now. And then pretty well, that was how I won the struggle. Like, it was really disappointing, but I had this left objective. No one bothered to get on this back objective. I mean, for all I know, the Mandalorian wounded General Grievous. There's a lot of damage and shots that I haven't accounted for. So I don't want to say the Mandalorian turned into nothing, but like, I think he maybe wounded General Grievous and got wounds and did something like that. But it wasn't like pivotal to the game. So I won that struggle by waking up the B1s, essentially, right? So then we go into the third and final struggle, and I'm just going to very, very briefly see what I did there. I went to pause the thing and reminded myself what went on. And what went on was it became this objective here, this objective back here, and even though I just reminded myself of it, I've forgotten which one it was. Oh, mine back on the home over here. Right, so this third struggle, no. No. Because it was this back one. Yeah, something like that. And then, so essentially what happened is, Zimbad's turn, and he gets Gar Saxon, must have been, and he really didn't want Gar Saxon at that precise moment, right? But he couldn't think of what else to do, and that back objective was the double, okay? So he goes and he just basically flies Gar Saxon back over here, and then, yeah, that's it. That's scoring him the point, but Gar Saxon doesn't honestly accomplish very much with his turn otherwise, right? And then I got General Grievous. And so in my turn, I must have got General Grievous next. Yeah, I think so. And Grievous makes his way with his dash and his scuttle up here. And he both shot and pushed off, I think, the Super Commandos. And he's just sort of sitting here next to this one. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen because I remember him shooting the Mandalorian, but the Mandalorian's over there. I've gone very wrong somewhere. But I'm telling a nice story now. Right, so there must have been a Mandalorian activation, and this is where the Mandalorian's going to come in, and he gets sort of that. There will have been dashes somewhere. He gets on that. Yeah, this is bearing not much reflection to reality anymore, is it? And then there was some kind of obviously shooting, maybe shot. I remember there was a lot of like, oh, I shoot the B1s. The B1s are wounded. The B1s got wounded twice. Like, there's a lot of I incidentally shoot this thing that isn't really relevant to the objective game, but it's getting me momentums as happens in the game. Okay, and then like, okay, I feel like, yeah, it's something like that, right? And then I got Kraken, right? So Kraken dashes and moves and manages to get up here. And then I don't know why I did that in hindsight, right? Because it wasn't going to get me any points. So basically, I couldn't get anywhere. I ended up getting locked out of getting near to the useful points. I've still got the one on the right with General Grievous, and that's what's keeping me in the game when that one comes up on the double. But Kraken pops up here. And then his plan was to try and... well, actually, to be fair, when I moved him, my plan was to go here. And then Zimbad's like, oh, but the ladder doesn't work like that because this ladder's only going up here, so you have to go up there. So I couldn't get in range of this objective. And then I might have taken him a different direction. But it is what it is. He took a shot at the Mando, most probably, trying to get him pushed, to push the Mando off. Not that he would have done nothing, because I didn't have my own stuff up there. But that was basically the long and the short of it, right? And then Zimbad had, an activation where he's in a commanding lead already at this point, and I think he got someone, and they were pretty irrelevant to everything. Like we've definitely missed some stuff, because at some point Darth Maul ends up here doing something and getting pushed around in a way that's pretty irrelevant overall to the grand scheme of things. So let's say he did something with Darth Maul and scored some wounds. I then, because I remember the end of the game, I was in the position then where I needed to score 2 to stay in the game. So managed to activate with Dooku. Dooku manages to get up this ingress point here to there, and oops, not the whole map. And gets into combat with the Mandalorian. Actually managed to shove the Mandalorian off, right, and claim that objective, which was the double that turn and score 2. And that's fine, but Zimbad is still in a position where if he scores 3, he's won. Or if he scores 2, he's won, or some such. And he rolls basically the one that he needs. I'm pretty sure at some point he got up here as well. I've missed loads of stuff out. I do apologise. But essentially, Zimbad won. It was a fun game. I hope you've taken something away from this. Maybe. Kind of a rough video, I understand. But that was my recollections, anyway, of the Shafts Point game. I had enormous fun. Let's try and salvage some usefulness here and chat about this a little bit at the end here. So, look, before I talk about the game, I'm going to talk about the video that I just made, because I'm not 100% happy with it, obviously, but it is what it is. I struggle to... I don't know if this is normal or if I have a memory problem. I struggle to remember the events of a game that I played yesterday. Broad strokes and the cool pieces, yes, but the minutiae, if he did this, I did that, he did this, I did that, no, they go from my head. I need to find a way to better catalogue if I want to keep doing these battle reports on the channel. And I like the format. I think it's cool. They don't get many views, but I like doing it, and I think reflecting on the battle, if I could remember more of it, I think reflecting on the battle is probably a good thing for me. But the problem is, what happens is, especially after the first struggle, I got so caught up in actually playing and enjoying the game that I just didn't take enough photographs. And I don't know. I don't know whether I can actually... The problem is, if I was someone like a Glass Half Dead, and I lived alone, and I had an area where I could have a table set up and a camera on the table, I could record the entire thing and then look back at it while I was moving the circles around, right? But I have to set my table up in the family dining room area, and there's nowhere in there where I can put up a camera or anything like that. So it's a little bit of a struggle to work out how to better chronicle the game. Other than remembering after every activation to actually get up on a chair and stand and take a picture of the whole thing from a bird's eye view, rather than take the little close-up pictures. But I really want to do this sort of video really well, and I want to do better than I'm currently doing for you guys, because I feel like that this is, for me, everyone in this community is so lovely. I never get any negative feedback. For me, this has been the worst one. And this has been the worst one because I know there are things that I remember happening that because of things that I've previously said happened, I can't work out how they happened. And there's a lot of key information like who's getting wounded. Like the Magna Guards actually got taken off the board in the game, right? That happened. That was a thing. But there's so much key information that I just can't quite like rationalize how it happened in the order of things. But I hope you've gotten something out of it. I really do hope you've gotten something out of it because this is your Thursday video. You know, this is what you're getting now. So I'm gonna go away and reflect and try and come up with a way to do this, not just for Shatterpoint, for Kill Team, and for other things. I'm gonna go away and reflect and try and come up with a way of doing this kind of thing, but better, right? And if any of you in my lovely audience have any ideas, I would love to hear them. Because this is not working out. But the trouble with it is, Zimbad and I have very busy lives, and we get to play once a week, and we want to enjoy the play of the game as well while we're playing it, right? And what annoys me is my inability to remember things. If my memory was just a little bit better, it will be truly a great thing. But some days it's easier than others to recall, to recollect the battle, right? Recollect the battle. Anyway, enough prattling. Enough. This has already become the world's worst video. Enough prattling about the sort of inside baseball of trying to make a YouTube video, and enough complaining about myself and making excuses. What did I actually learn about Shaq? Because actually, for all this has been a kind of a tragic episode as a video, it was a really, really good game because I took Zimbad to 3 struggles, and I've never done that before. So I didn't beat him, but I took a struggle off him, which is fantastic. The weird one was, in both struggle 1 and struggle 3, I got an early lead, and then he kept getting to the point where he was getting momentum for not getting the cube back into his half. And ultimately, in both struggle 1 and struggle 3, that's why he went on to win, because he managed to get his momentum cube so far towards the middle compared to mine by maybe almost letting me have an early lead. So, and part of that is, I guess, Separatists do just have these firecracker activations with the super tactical droids, right, where they can accomplish lots of things and get like a 2-point swing and stuff like that. But then once those have gone, you've got other activations that are like, I've got to do something with these Magna Guard now, I've got to do something with these B1s now, which are less exciting. There was a lot of wounding that happened in this game. I know, really frustratingly, in the battle report element of the game, I don't have a really useful way, again, with the amount of space. If we had a massive table in a studio and blah, 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 it'd be so much easier to do. But I don't have an easy way of tracking, like, exactly when the shots have been fired and when the wounding has happened, which is why it's called Recollections of Battle and not Battle Report. But let me tell you, my stuff was being wounded all the time. So Dooku's trigger to do dashes and move things out of sequence. And, like, there was one point where one of the B1s got pushed really far away from the point, and Zimbad was going to take that bottom point, and then separately the other, like, it was the other super commando, like, shoots and wounds Grievous, and then because Grievous is wounded, Dooku goes, well, now this B1's dashing back up here and taking this point, and that was another really fun moment that I didn't get in the actual battle report. It's so frustrating in its way, but I'm leaving it up because I think it is what it is, right? So as far as actually playing Shatterpoint comes, I'm still really irritated with Grievous. Grievous did stuff in that game. He's very mobile, but I'm grumpy about his inability to kill, like, the supports and things that he should be able to kill. I'm going to try and keep him in his cunning warlord side a bit more next game, the next time I play him. But I was really pleased that I was remembering more of my triggers, more of the Magna Guard triggers. They were moving when when the primaries were moving and they were doing stuff. But, like, maybe I just need to abandon. Nobody's watching these anyway. Maybe I just need to abandon this Thursday's battle report thing. That's the thing I'm having food for thought on really here now, more than the game. That part went really well, but I'm just kind of going, oh, the battle reports. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, because I genuinely need to hear it. If you're enjoying this series, bear in mind I know this has been the ropiest one, but if you're enjoying this series, let me know, because I think I need the and if nobody says it, then this can just die off and we can do something else in this slot, this Thursday slot. That's fine, because I think I am struggling. And if people are enjoying it, maybe I'll invest the time or money or something, like a little, maybe like a little tripod, or some kind of thing of ways I could do it to to make it so that this can be a bit more robust as an enjoyable video for y'all. Is there a way I just record it and have like an unedited 3-hour, 2-hour battle report? I don't know, but it's just finding a way to get a camera up there so that I will have a think. I will have a think, and I'll have a play, and I will let you know. All right, guys. All right, thanks. Hope you got something from this one. And I'll see you again tomorrow. We're gonna talk about the Kill Team FAQ shit. Sorry, the Kill Team FAQ stuff that happened on the app, like little minor changes. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow, so you can look forward to that one. All right, guys. Thanks for putting up with me. And it's a cheery bye. Bye. Bye.